to the Sip and Chat, where myself and my co-host, Miss Nexty, we talk about trauma healing and relationship issues and all of those things. So, welcome to today's podcast, and welcome our co-host, Miss.
Okay, hello, Miss Marlene. Hi, everyone. I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening, and and also that you guys had a wonderful day because I am relaxed. I am so relaxed. But I hope everybody did, including you, Miss Marlene. I hope you had a good day.
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely had an awesome day. So, first, you know what we have to do, Miss Next, because this is a sip and chat.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
what are you sipping on, girl? What you
A nice hot cup of coffee.
Oh, coffee.
Yes, Miss Marlene. It's getting a little bit chillier here, so I wasn't going to have a cup of coffee because it's so late in the day. But I was like, you know what? I am home alone, no distractions, no problemas, and I was like, let me have a cup of coffee. If I can sleep tonight, it's okay. I can sleep in late tomorrow morning. So there, I broke the
There.
cardinal rule and I made myself a coffee. What are
Okay.
you sipping on, Miss Marlene?
So, Miss Nexty, I am having some Minute Maid tropical fruit punch with a whole bunch of ice.
Whoa. You are wired, just like me, in a different way.
Dirt is not the word. I'm like, yeah.
You have a sugar rush right now. I have a caffeine rush. Same way.
Yeah.
Different places, but same thing.
Okay. So, Miss Nexty, today's sip and chat. Now, guys, today Miss Nexty is the one that chose this topic. Okay. So I can wait. You have to say, Miss Nexty.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Marlene, I sent you that quote on that picture because probably nobody else knows, but I went on a camping trip for an entire week to Yosemite National Park here in California. I have been dreaming of going there for a very, very long time. But as life goes on, you raising kids, you're busy with work, school, and everything. So I did not have the chance to actually do that. When my kids were growing up. So somebody invited me, and I said, "Of course, let's go camping." My ex-husband, and he was taking a little guy over there. So I said, "Yeah, why not?" And so I accompanied them to the nice and relaxed RV camping trip. Um,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. It's far away, Miss Marlene, because it's about, I don't know, 7.5 hours, 8 hours from where I am. It's
Wow.
very far. The getting there, there's a lot of curves and very, very high altitude, and no guardrails for cars or anything. So you can
That's a first
imagine.
piece. No. Mm-mm. You was gonna have to Mr. T-Bill.
Miss Marlene, you know how I was feeling? Seasick because of all the curves, and I'm petrified of heights. So you can imagine when we got there, finally off, I was like a bear of hibernation. The hair was up. I was like, oh my God, let me touch land because I was so scared, but it was mesmerizing. It was beautiful. Beautiful view, as much as I could see because I was laying down.
Mhm.
But it was a nice, it was a nice thing to do. And the reason why I said, I chose the topic and I gave you the topic today is because in this week long vacation experience that I had, I actually went back to childhood. You know, I went back to growing up. I went back to when we used to do things, just for do
That
just to do it. You know, we cooked, we walked, we hiked. There was a very nice little river that runs through it, and I think I sent you a couple of videos. It was beautiful, but what I noticed is that the sky was so full of stars. It was so clear. It was the first 2 days were overcasted and it rained when we got there, but it wasn't like, you know, when it rains in the city, you hear all the cars, you hear accidents, you hear all kinds of things. It was an actual enjoyment. The rain brought the next day like a cold and very very nice smelling, all the greenery around. It was such an enchanting morning. That was the first day there. But what I was trying to tell you is that in the city we get so busy with work and, you know, household work and kids and friends sometimes, that we forget that sometimes, Miss Marlene, actually, no, we should do it all the time. Get away for a couple of days if we can and just get lost in nature, because the clarity of mind, that, you know, quietness of my mind, because it's very hard for me to do that, the relaxation, the breathing that you can actually do in the woods and, you know, surrounded by nature is so different than the one you do in the city. It
yeah,
refreshes you, you know, the waking up to those sounds every morning, opening your door and seeing nature around you. It gives you this perspective that maybe I've been living life the wrong way.
exactly, Miss Nexie. And before you get into that a little bit more, I want to read you a little that I found online. Nature helps us by improving both mental and physical health through stress reduction, mood enhancement, and increased physical activity. It also can lower blood pressure, improve concentration and sleep, and even provide natural compounds used in medicines. So, there's a lot of benefits from being out in nature, and Miss Next was just first to Yosemite State Park, and I think it's amazing for us to get out into nature. And when you were telling me about your trip and getting away, I have to be honest with you, Miss Nexty. It's been such a long time since I did something that did not involve being in the city. You know,
Yes.
talk and noise. I mean, like a true getaway to be out where there's not anything to distract you. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no, you know, none of.
Nothing. Yes. And you know, Miss Marlene, I think you remember I got away a little bit during the summertime when we went to Mexico for a week as well.
Mhm.
But I got to relax there, but we were in front of the ocean. It was nice, it was quiet. But there's something different when you do this in the forest. You know, it's a national park, right? So there's a lot of critters, which I'm not very fond of, but I was brave when I encounter.
Come on.
Okay, it was a squirrel, but I thought it was a bear. But I was very brave. I think I scared the poor thing more.
It was more.
I I harmed his nerves more than he did mine, but I thought it was a bear. Although somebody told me bears really don't climb down from trees, but you never know, right, Miss Marley?
Next
Um,
than me because Marlene does not do camping, hiking. No.
well,
I
Miss Marlene, tent camping, I'm not very fond of. No, 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 no. I told you my idea of tent camping will be, you know, get us a hotel suite, open up a tent in the middle of the beautiful living room, and camp there. That's my idea of tent camping. Because again, I am afraid of critters, so I always think that there's something inside the tent. So no, I'm not fond of that. But we did an RV, camping, and that's very different. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a little nerve wracking because there was nothing there, and like you said, there's no Wi-Fi, there
Woo!
is no TV, no noise of cars. There was a whole bunch of people. When we got there, it was a little lonely. It was just three of us or four of us camped there, and I thought, oh my god, that's it. It's awesome because nobody else will be here, so we can have the entire camp for ourselves, and it's gonna be so much fun. But through the night, I was kind of like worried because I was like, what if something happens and it's just three of us here? I started thinking like a city girl and all those scary movies.
You know how like all those movies from
Oh,
you movie, like horror movies and all those things. What's that? Who's that? Somebody's outside.
but
Right.
you want to know the funny thing is I heard like there were noises that sometimes will frighten me, but I will go back to sleep so fast. Like in the city, if there's a noise that wakes me, I'm up. I cannot go back to sleep. I'm up. If it's at 3 in the morning and I haven't had any sleep, but 2, 3 hours, I'm up. Like I cannot go back to sleep. I get restless. But over there, I woke up a couple of times because I heard some noises. Of course, I was the only one that woke up because nobody else did. Everybody else was asleep, slumbering their brains out. But I was like, oh my God, I heard that. Maybe it's a bear. I was already thinking it was a bear. And I will go back to sleep and I will wake. The funny thing is, like, we'll be in bed like around 10:30, 11, and I was up by 6 in the morning. And without an alarm clock, Miss Marlene, the desire of going out, walking, hiking, um, just just have fun. Just sit there and listen to everything. I would sit by the riverbank and I would just take a book because they got like chairs outside that you can sit on, like lawn chairs, but the ones that are made out of wood. And I would just sit there with my book and just I will lose myself in it. And I will be lost to everybody else around me until it was lunchtime or dinner time. But it was so different this time than the trip I took over there. But what I wanted to tell you is that for many, many years, I have not also been able to get away this way because I've gone trips. Yeah, I have taken, 3-day cruises. I've gone to other places, but something like what I did this time, I haven't done that since I was little. Weird.
Wow. Yeah, and it's one of those things that Miss Next, I'm going to say something very transparent. I also have a problem when it comes to getting away. Like I'll say I want to get away, but I don't want a true getaway. I want all of the modern conveniences. I want my air conditioning. I want my the things. I want someone to bring me a pina colada, a macada. I'm I want all of it. Like bring it to me. But like a true getaway, like one that involves what we're talking about today, like a mental and physical getaway, being in nature. Those are the ones that you have to truly immerse yourself in nature. That is not, what do you call it? Like centered on um, higher buildings and having all of these conveniences, that it's really just about you enjoying being in nature, by the water, looking at trees and just having peace and quiet.
Yeah. And again, Miss Marlene, the for me, my mind is very hard to quiet it down. Oh, and by the way, Miss Marlene, oh, we weren't no technology at all. I mean, we had Wi-Fi because a certain somebody needed to have his Wi-Fi. So, dad has to have the latest apparatus on top of his RV so that the child can get signal. So we weren't completely, no technology, but what I found myself doing, Miss Marlene, is not really checking anything. By the second day, I had forgotten I had a phone. And I had to be reminded, don't you want to record? Oh, yes, it's true. I want to record. Don't you want to take pictures? Oh my God, yes, I'm going to take pictures. And you don't see that much because I forgot. I
Mhm.
forgot. I wasn't on top of, oh, let me see what's going on. Let me answer this. And what I ended up doing the second day in the very morning is I turned my phone data off
Yeah.
because I didn't want any of that. But you know what? I wasn't even looking for it. Like, again, Miss Marlene, you and I have taken many, many trips and many a trips. Sometimes we
Mhm.
come back more tired than when we left. I don't know if you experienced that, but I sometimes come back from a very nice, relaxing trip more tired than when I left. And I
Mhm.
don't feel desensitized from the world, from the city, from all this. I come back with, "Oh, okay, I mean, I was there. There were cars all over the place, We went to 3 or 4 different nice restaurants and we tried all this food. Normally I get, like I said, I come back more tired. And my mind is super tired from the trip. So it takes me about a week to get back to, my bearings back. But because we were in the middle of nowhere, there's no, cars other than RV that are coming down, and they're far. They come early in the morning because everybody tries to come early. And, so there was no noise. The people were so nice. The kids were running around, but they weren't making that much noise. And I love cooking. I really, really enjoy cooking. So I love the fact that I got to get up, make breakfast, have a nice cup of tea without having to get up and check the phone first, check my emails, check if there's any messages, any urgent messages from work or whatever. I didn't do any of that. I got up, had my cup of coffee, which I made in a French press,
Yeah.
and had my coffee right in front of all of those beautiful, beautiful trees. And
Mm.
that was it, Miss Marlene. I wasn't worried about what time is it, or oh, maybe I should put on a TV show, or maybe I'm gonna watch this. Nothing. Nothing. I did nothing but just enjoy my time. And I was able to clear my mind. I was able to think over things that I want to do that I've been struggling with decision making. Certain things I have to do around the house, things that, some things at work that, I want to take something that, we'll talk about it in our private conversation, but I'm going to do something at work. I'm going to change. And so I'm thinking all this over there with an entire week of no disruption, no worries about phone calls, no worries about who's going to walk through that door, no worries about the noises outside, no worries about, oh my God, if I don't, clock out right now, I'm not ever going to leave. It was so weird because I was so clear minded in the decisions that I needed to take, that I needed to make, my mind that I needed to make up. It was very, very clear to me in that entire week. I made decisions that, are gonna be life changing for me, and I had to have, and I didn't even know I needed, this trip, but I had to have that getting away from everything to understand that that is exactly what I want and need to do now. I need
Mhm.
to get away. I need to let go of work, take a hiatus, maybe a sabbatical, couple of years, maybe, to think if I want to come back. But I wanted to take this time to see if it was going to be possible. Another thing, Miss Marlene, is I was cooking with things that, I didn't have a restaurant next door that, "Hey, if I don't want to cook, I can just order. I can order sushi in." So I was cooking in things that I'm not used to it, so I had to kind of like regulate the temperatures and make sure that I was checking because a couple of things got a little burn and at first, and I had to kind of go back to childhood, as I said in the beginning, where you cook with fire and you cook in with charcoal and those little stoves outside. That wasn't my case, but I went back to that. How you have to regulate, how you have to keep watching what you're doing and not really just, you can let go like in the kitchen, you put a timer and that's it, right? So I went back to that and I enjoyed it very much. You know,
Mhm.
I wasn't like I was in nature, immersed in nature. That's exactly what I was. And my I have rheumatoid arthritis, that my pain was very minimum. I had no, like, very little pain because I was so rested. I slept 7 8 hours every night, Miss Marlene. You know how hard it is for me to sleep. I
7.
slept. Yes, yes, Miss Marlene, can you believe that?
I don't. I actually don't. I want to see the
Right. I'm gonna send you the report because I have my watch and it takes the data on that, but 7, 6, 7, 8 hours. And it didn't go lower than that, except I think for one of the days, that's when I heard the bear that I thought it was a bear, but it was actually a skunk. But that's not the point, Miss Marlene. It could have been a bear. And I woke up with I got my gun, which is actually is a broom. And it's like if it's a bear, I'm gonna hit it, and I don't care where it goes. But it wasn't a bear; it was a little skunk, and he was more scared than me than I was of him at the end. He literally ran like this crazy lady. But other than that, everything was like I will sleep, I will go to bed, and literally just put my head down, Miss Marine, and I was gone, lights out.
wow.
Yeah,
Because of you felt calm, you were at peace, you weren't anxious, you weren't worried about anything. And I do believe that's the one of the essential roles of that nature provides. And we take things for granted. Like I live in the state of Florida and I'm surrounded by so many beautiful things nearby me. I'm surrounded by beaches and beautiful palm trees and sunsets and just beautiful views. And ask me how often do I actually take a moment to just stand and take it in, look at it, immerse myself in that beauty. I had to learn, as our topic is about, the essential role of nature in your mental and your physical well being. It's not good for us. In today's society, we spend so much of our time indoors, in our homes, at work, always inside, and we need to get out and just breathe in fresh air and see nature and walk and not think about our problems and the things that we're dealing with and going through. Just get out and just enjoy being outside without all of that thinking that, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that. We need to take those mental breaks. So I know for me, being outside, going for a walk, looking at the water, palm trees, the sunrise, sunset, it's good for my mental health. It gets me to just enjoy the moment right here and right now. And for me, that's what it's all about. And not worrying about tomorrow or an hour or whatever. Just right now, enjoy the moment that
exactly. But Miss Marlene, I live in California. We have tons of beautiful places that we can go. Ask me how many times I do that a year, and I will answer you honestly. In the past 16 years, go ahead, ask me, Miss Marlene.
next thing. How often do you go to these nature places?
Never. In the past 16 years, I have not gone anywhere from, taking care of the family to, yeah, little trips, like I said, here and there. But I have four, one, two, three, four, about five different beaches around me that I can go to. I have gone to none in 16 years. I have theme parks that are near me, which so many people, but who likes them. And I probably the last time I visited one was probably 6, 7 years, I think, before the pandemic. Um, a lot of movie theaters around. I don't go. So for me, this actually gave me that clarity that I was, talking to you about. How sad that we have so much beauty around us. But because sometimes the places that we live in, which is, I love my city, I really do. I love where I live and everything. But sometimes because everything is so readily available, we take it for granted. We don't have, we live in the city, yeah, but there's other places where you can get away from the city. For like near me, I can tell you about 15 that are an hour and a half to 2 hours away from my house that I can literally go lose myself in nature. Do I go? No, because I want to stay here and I want to do things that are available for me right away. I don't want to go and wait. Maybe there's no, Uber take, Uber Eats or anything like that. So I sometimes psych myself out of certain things, which I have regretted. Going on this trip gave me a clarity of mind, and um it quiet my crazy mind to the point where I could actually think, because I know that we think every day, right? At work, we think, we'll go to the store, we think when we're friends, we think everything. But what I meant is think about me, what
Mhm.
I like, Miss Marlene. You understand, right? Think
Yes.
about me. That which it's important for us because you and I are very busy, and I know a lot of our listeners are too. And we're so busy with everybody else's problems that we forget about ours.
Mhm. And it's that sort of validation, getting away, Miss Nexty, it reminds us that it's okay to be still, to be quiet, to think about ourselves and what we have going on. It's like when we're quiet, we finally can say, you know what? I need to take care of this and I need to make this appointment. It causes for us to have some reflection, some introspection.
Mhm. There you go. Yes, Miss Marlene. You know, it here at home, I can have a couple of days off. Like today, my son is with his dad. Normally, by this time, either I will be back at work, right? Because he's not here, or I will be just doing nothing, watching TV, or maybe take a walk, maybe take, a nice little walk around here. But I will spend the whole time doing things, calling the office, checking my emails, doing this, doing that, sipping my coffee, watching TV, and like that. And right now, Miss Marlene, my son left earlier today with dad. He came to pick him up. He's like, you know what? Let me give you a couple of days off so that you can do the things that you need to do. And since we got back Monday, I haven't really checked anything, like nothing of my work. I forgot to check emails. I haven't returned phone calls. I haven't done anything. I have no desire to do that, which is weird. I haven't checked in with anyone except I think I checked in with you. Um, and that's it. Like I haven't done anything. I haven't felt the need to be on the phone, be in front of the TV. I've been reading, finishing the book that I started over there. I'm almost done. Okay. And it's like a 600-page book. It's not that big, right? But I'm almost done because I haven't turned on any devices on. And I'm very peace with myself. And what I understood with this trip, and I like said, Miss Marlene, I've been wanting to do this for the longest time. That when we were walking, the air that you breathe is so pure. It's so weird because you and I think that, we can think that air is air, right? But it's not. It was so pure, so cool, and so, I don't know, it was so freeing when I was breathing. I could actually breathe, which is something weird, I know, but I was able to breathe. Sometimes things that sometimes I hold in here. And what I while I was walking, there was no cars, no noises of people, nothing. I was walking. We did a couple of trails, and then I walked on my own for, like, I don't know, a couple of hours. And the beauty never ended. But I was able to clear my mind, um, kind of like clear my lungs, right? And I was able to literally be one with nature, where I lay down on the pasture and I just forgot about everything. Nothing. I didn't even take my headphones, Miss Marlene, or my phone. Nothing. I was on a
Mhm.
hike. I think it was probably like, um, I think it was probably a couple of mile hike, but it was going up a mountain. Not a big one, but a little mountain. And I went all the way to the top where I could see our campground, and it was beautiful. And I just laid up there and I fell asleep for about an hour by myself.
By yourself. That's what
Yes,
that's amazing. Those little things like that, that's the important part of getting away and being in nature. Just being by yourself and, like you said, breathing. And you know that I've talked about this. I'm very big on breathing properly. That's
Mhm,
something I go more the natural route, and of course, I'm not giving medical advice or any of those things, but I believe in, doing more things homeopathic, and
mhm.
that making sure you're taking your time for deep breathing. Most of us do that panting, like breathing like we're going in labor, not breathing from your core. So when
Yeah.
that when
Mhm.
you're you're not thinking I need to breathe, but when your stress has been removed, you can truly have those cleansing breaths.
Yes. Yes. And again, it took me but one day. I wasn't worried about technology per se. I wasn't. Again, we had, Wi-Fi. We had connection because, you know, we had it, but I wasn't logged in. I wasn't. I think I watched, or we watched one movie when all together, when we were there, we watched that movie, and that was it. And I think that was either Tuesday or Wednesday, and that was all we did. And then it was walking, it was talking. We did, we burned, we did fire, and it was like, it was so weird because the smells took me back again to when I was a kid, when life was simple. And this is the thing that I wanted to say, Miss Marlene, which is why I'm telling you all this about nature, is that my life was so simple growing up. And it was so simple in this camp that I think that with modern stuff and with city lives, it gets complicated and unsimple. But I don't
Mhm.
think it's the city that does that. It's us. We get used to just pressing a button. We get used to just ordering here. We get used to it. Just if I want something, it will be here in 10 minutes. We get so used to that, Miss Marlene, that we forget that. Remember when when our parents used to send us to broom the patio, the front of the house, to pick up the leaves from the trees and gather them and all that jazz? All those things were done to help you. I know it sounds weird, but I remember my dad when we were upset or something. He'll be like, "You know what? I saw the patio was so messed up. You got to broom. But I broomed this morning. I saw it and it was messed up. You have to broom it again." And I will be brooming, 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 and thinking about the fact that I was mad, and then I will forget the reason of why I was mad to one of my sisters or my brother or whatever. And then I'll be like, just brooming, and it will be something like so calming, the brush of the broom on the floor, and then I will be having fun with it, and then we come back in, and I forgot why I was mad or whatever. But it got me back to that time, is that we're so used to modern everything that sometimes we need to take a few centuries back to remember when life was more simple and uncomplicated. And for me, what this trip gave me is the clear mind that I need to uncomplicate my life, that I
Exactly.
need to go back to the beginning, as they say, right, Marlene? Go back to when we were kids, and look at things for what they are, but try to do more with your hands and your feet and everything else than by pressing buttons. I think that that's what this trip gave me back. That I have to go back a little bit and get more in tune with who I am, and not get lost in the progress and technology. I'm not blaming it. I'm not saying that it's fault. It's my fault. But I need to get back more to nature, to the natural way of things, and not rely so much in technology and everything so easy, because what that makes us is useless. And I'm
And
talking about me, Miss Marlene. Please, please, everybody, I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about anybody else using technology. I'm talking about my experience and what I learned in my camping trip. This is not Miss Marlene's opinion. Please don't come after her. I'm just talking about me and what this camping trip enlightened me about. And is that I have become useless because of everything being so readily available.
right. And Miss Nexie, I'll agree with you. Like, there's certain things like when I take like those true nature getaway, like I don't bring, all of those what you call it, modern conveniences. Like I'll actually bring a can opener. I'll like certain things that I'll have my time, slow
Hmm.
down, like you don't have to be in a rush. You don't have to use the electric can opener. How about making homemade hot chocolate? Or how about making a homemade breakfast instead of going out to eat or going somewhere? Like taking time to just slow down and enjoy make the experience of sights and tasting my food and not being in a hurry to, chow down through my food, take time to savor it. For me, that's my favorite part of having a nature experience is not only like if you go somewhere and you're like catching fish or doing something like that, it's part of that, but also taking in the sights of, being with beautiful water and the sky and the sounds and the refreshing breeze and all of that and seeing animals, and it's all of that that we need to do more of that, taking that in and giving ourselves a moment to just take a sigh and say, I needed this.
Yes,
I
exactly. There you go, Miss Marlene. Exactly, exactly, exactly how I was feeling. By the way, you described everything to perfection. Because when I got there, the first let me go back a little. So you said about not taking an electric can opener, right? So I'm over here going, should I bring my Keurig coffee? I mean, I
I
cannot drink the regular. I mean, I want my cups, my little K cups, and I love this type of flavor. And and I'm over here overthinking this. And then I said, no. I said, I'm gonna order a French press for camping, and they have them, by the way. And I ordered one, and I went and got coffee at my favorite coffee shop, and I asked for them to blend, to kind of like blend it for me to French press mode, whatever, and they did it. And so my first experience like this, because it was when I was thinking, is when we went to San Felipe in Mexico, and during the summertime, and I brought that I bought that and took it, and I was so happy because you can make a big pot, and it's just like my little K cups. and I had to boil the water, Miss Marlene. I had to boil the water, okay, on a little teapot, and then put the coffee in the French press, and then throw the water in, mix it up, and then put the little thing, wait 5 minutes. But that on itself, Miss Marlene, it gave me so much pride when I took that sip of my coffee. Because normally I just put the K cup in, I press the thing, and I'm done. My coffee's there, right? Nothing else. Nothing more,
It's
nothing less.
Miss Nexie, but it's about taking the time to slow down and not rush through things what I was saying about making a breakfast, like taking time to not just buy things that's prepared and done
Yeah.
for you, actually making eggs and cracking them or making pancakes from scratch. And I feel
Yes. And I did all that in this trip. Like I said, I love cooking, Miss Marlene. And one day, hopefully, you will try it. I love cooking, baking. It's my favorite thing to do. I don't like doing dishes, but I love everything else in the process.
Miss
And
Nexie
I
will
did,
when we go on
huh?
a trip together, we compromise. I will do the dishes and you do the cooking.
You little brat. And that's all you're going to do?
Yeah, that's
That's
all
not
I'm
compromise.
it's
That's
what
taking advantage of your best friend, woman.
what am I gonna say?
Oh, so you're going to go rest, but I'm going to be there to.
And and then we'll switch off and then you go and
It's
rest do some
while you watch the dishes, right? So I can prepare for the lunch meal and the dinner. What
hey.
a brat. What a brat. But
So Miss
Miss Marlene, I did make, fresh eggs every morning. I make them eggs and, well, not every morning, but, I made breakfast and then I made pancakes,
mm,
homemade pancakes, not prepared. Nope, nope. I grabbed the flour. I made the pancakes. I was going to make them lemon ricotta pancakes, but we did I forgot the lemons and I couldn't find anywhere. The nearest market was probably like 3 miles away in car. Can I walk over there? But we found a little store afterwards when we went for a walk that it was probably like a half a mile away from where we were at, but they didn't have fresh produce. So I couldn't. So anyway, but I did, homemade pancakes and then eggs and I we got milk and we ate outside. We didn't eat inside the RV. We went outside. They have the spots that we went to. Normally, they have all the hookups, right, for electricity, water, sewage, everything. So we had a restroom in there. We have a shower in there, and kitchen, a little kitchenette, and but we didn't want to eat inside, so we had a they have like park benches, those ones with the two benches on the side and the little table in the middle. They had those right in front of us. Every camp had them, so we sat there, Miss Marlene. We ate, and the little birds were chirping. The sun was barely coming out, and the air was so fresh. And mind you, I think I sent you a picture of the temperature, Miss Marlene. At this point, there was one day that it went down to 35 degrees Fahrenheit,
mm,
but it was so fresh, it was so peaceful, and it was so enjoyable because we're eating. Our little guy is talking, of course, trying to get back to his, iPad. But even then, we were like calming him down, and he would be like, "Oh, I want to go over there. I want to go over there." And then we started walking. We'll start walking because he wanted to go places instead of being on the iPad. And I was like, "Yes." But we will eat and then stretch and then put our shoes on and go for a walk, for a little hike. By the river, there was a lot of places where you can literally, Miss Marlene, just sit down and get lost. Like nobody can see you. It's so hidden. There's a lot of trees and little bushes that you can. There's chairs underneath, so you can just sit there listening to the river reading your book, or whatever it is that you want to be doing. And a lot of people are just there for that, just to get away.
Yep, just to have peace and quiet, like not really having a lot of human contact, like you just want to just be.
Yeah, exactly. And there's times that I have been able to do like get away and go relax, sit down somewhere. But then, the minute your mind is clear, an hour later, you're back to the city again, reality again, all the noise, all this, all that. It was nice to get away and not be worried about the house, because I wasn't worried. My son was, house sitting and taking care of the dog. And I didn't have to worry about bills or anything like that. I didn't have to worry about, ordering groceries or any of that. All we had to worry about was getting up, eating our breakfast. We already knew what we are going to have for lunch and dinner. So all I had to do was just leave whatever we're going to have later on and then just go and enjoy the day. Hike, it's just the
Well,
idea that there was nothing else, that I didn't have to answer any phone calls, any emails, that I didn't have to worry about the phone ringing off, 1,000 times a minute for a question about something. Every minute, I was so happy, so disconnected, and I was able to, again, quiet my mind. That is something that I don't get to do and I haven't done in so long, Miss Marlene. I did a restart of my brain, like a
mhm.
computer, right? I did a restart of my brain. I did a restart of my body. Put it this way, I was so relaxed, Miss Marlene, that I wasn't, because I get anxiety attacks from time to time. I wasn't anxious at all. I was going with the flow with no problem. I didn't care like what tomorrow was. I lost track of time. That's
Mhm.
how beautiful it was. That's how peaceful it was. And they had a lodge where you can go and play games, and there's a huge, I mean, like, entertainment room with a beautiful chimney, and there's places to sit down. There's a whole bunch of books that you can borrow and read. There's puzzles. There's a whole bunch of things you can do, and we got to do that. And it was nice because there were so many people there, families, playing, and the kids, Rico got to do a couple of puzzles with dad, and I got to get away and sit on one of the chairs by the chimney and read a book. You know what I mean? It was so nice, Miss Arlene, that nothing mattered to me. I was able to disconnect completely from life.
I'm so happy for you. Miss Nessie, I want to give you some of these benefits from, being in nature, okay?
Yes.
Mental, emotional benefits. Okay. So reduces stress and anxiety. Spending time in nature lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, and it decreases feelings of anger. It also improves your mood. Exposure to nature can boost your mood, increase feelings of happiness and calm, and reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety. Mm.
Oh my God. See? I'm telling you, Miss Marlene, I didn't research that. You're the expert of research when it comes to the topics. Because you know me, I just come and talk. But
Yeah.
I knew it because I was so, again, I was so in one with nature because I grew up in a place like that. It's tropical, but it's very peaceful. We didn't have that many cars. Everybody walked everywhere. The place where I lived, it was like 4 blocks, 4 rows of houses, and everybody was either playing or inside the house. There was no drama. There was nothing like that. So I had forgotten how nice that was, how beautiful of a childhood I had. And going back there reminded me when I used to see my sister, cooking. sometimes in the little stove. We had a two burner stove, an electric one. And my sister will cook our meals, and sometimes she will like say, you know what, I'm gonna make some soup, and she will light up the stove, the wooden stove in the outside, and make some soup that she will stew for hours and hours. And I will smell the smell of the fire of the wood burning, and I loved that. And we had that, we did a campfire, and it was so beautiful. We did it like 3 times, and the smell of that took me all the way back. And I know that not everybody can, right? Get away from here and do this, but if possible, it is nice to get away, at least for 3 to 4 days, just to get away from everything so you can get perspective. Because the one thing I always, when you said anxiety, that's the one thing, and you know that. I think I told you a month or
Mhm.
so ago that I was getting that back. That anxiety was coming back, and I was fighting it. I had already talked to my therapist and gave me other ways of coping because the ones that I used to have were not working. And the one thing he said is get away, you know, get away from the city. Whenever possible, just go away. Trust
Mhm.
me, go into nature, go camping. If you don't like camping, rent a cabin, but get away from here. Go somewhere where there's a lot of greenery, a lot of trees, and rest, because that is what you need. Because you know me, I don't sleep well. And so
Mhm.
that was triggering a lot of things were coming too. And I think the lack of sleep, the rush, the fact that my mind didn't quiet, all of that was triggering anxiety so much. And I wasn't enjoying anything because I was getting the fearfulness of, oh my God, there's a lot of people. And I was already calculating, I can't go there because at this time there's a lot of people. And I don't like crowds. So I was getting that back, that seclusion again. And getting away, and I appreciate my ex-husband very much because he made it all possible. He planned it. He knew I had told him, when we went to on a vacation in summertime. I told him, I was talking to my therapist, and he said, I should get away. And one of these days, maybe we should go somewhere, like foresty or Sequoia or Yosemite. And that's what I said. And then he texted me and said, hey, we're leaving this day, so be ready. I'm like, what? And I appreciate that, because if he would have not done that, I would have come up with 1,000 different reasons why we shouldn't go.
Mhm.
The
And
first one will
that's
be critters.
no, this next thing. Let me tell you another benefit of a mental and emotional benefit of being in nature is it enhances cognitive function. Nature improves your concentration, your attention, and your memory, and it is particularly beneficial for children and adults with ADHD.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Our son, my son has autism,
Mhm.
and he wasn't missing his computer, or he didn't want my phone. He had his iPad a few hours a day, but I think it's more out of habit. Because if I will say, hey, you want to go for a walk? And he'll be like, bye, iPad. Here at home, he's like, no, you go. Because he has his computer in front of him. He has all electronics in front of him. So over there, he was able to say, yeah, let's go. And he was calmer. He wasn't, anxious. He wasn't clapping. He wasn't rocking as much as he does sometimes when he's here at home doing nothing, just, in closed doors. And he was very much relaxed, and slept through the night too. Sometimes he gets up really early. Nope. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. We will be up having our second cup of coffee, and he will still be asleep.
Oh, wow,
Yep.
that's amazing. Here's another one, Miss Nexie. Um, going going out in nature, it boosts your energy and creativity. Being in a natural environment can increase both physical and mental energy and foster a sense of awe and gratitude. I love that.
Yes. And yes. I love it too, Miss Marlene. I
Mhm.
was making an excuse when we were going, because when I go hiking here, they're not. It's not. I've gone, but it's not. You know, like a high place to go. It's normal, and we hike because there's rocks and dirt, whatever. But it's not anything that it's like, oh my god, it's dangerous, right? So I was trying to come up with excuses like, oh, maybe we shouldn't go hiking because it's we don't have any protection, and what if critters again? What if we encounter a bear or we encounter a mountain lion? Because I already thinking about all those things, and I was trying to psych myself out of going, right? But the minute I got there, Miss Marlene, I was like fearless. Normally, my legs kill me after I'm done a big hike, my knees because of my arthritis. Nothing hurt me the next day, Miss Marlene. I had so much energy and still do. A lot of energy. I feel, like I said, rested. Just last night, Miss Marlene, I slept 8 hours.
And,
This
and I
morning, I woke.
and I think it's all due to you coming from that relaxed environment.
And not immersing myself again into the go, 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 because I'm taking this week off as well, meaning I will do I'm gonna check my emails probably tomorrow, right? To see how, but I have taken a mental break from
Mm.
there and have gotten a perspective, which, I'm currently typing certain things that I have to type, and I know my bosses are gonna be trying to stop me, but if I don't do it right now, they're gonna drive me back to not doing it at all. So I
Mhm.
need to take a sabbatical. I need to rest. I need to be I can afford it. You know what I mean? I can afford it. I know I can. A year and a half. I know I can afford it. I'm not saying I'm rich, Miss Marlene, but I'm a good saver. I have savings and I can afford to take at least a year off and just stay here and do whatever. I've been wanting to go visit my sister, but I always use the excuse of, oh, I'm not going because of work, right?
Mm.
I'm not, because, oh my God, I mean, I'm going to go there. I'm going to be this. And I come up with 1,000 excuses. This trip gave me the notion to say, stop making excuses, Nexie, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're just making up excuses because you're afraid of the flight, because I'm petrified of heights. But I have to be brave and I have to go visit my sister. And I'm clear on that. So I have to let go now so that I can fulfill my next year's goals. So I have to put my 1 month resignation
Mm.
letter tomorrow. If I
Wow.
can, if I finish it, if not, I'll wait until Monday when I go in and give it at the end of the day and turn off my phone so that they don't convince me to stay. No. But
Oh,
I'm not gonna let that. I'm not gonna allow that.
do it 10 minutes before it's time to clock out.
I'm gonna put it in his no, I'm gonna put it in his mailbox. You kidding me? I'm not gonna face him yet. And since
Oh,
I'm gonna be off like Monday I work and then I'm gonna be off 48 hours, they're not gonna be able to reach me for 48 hours.
I
My
see.
phone is gonna be broken after Monday. Oh, I hope they don't listen to this podcast.
I won't send it to them. I promise.
A couple of my friends, no, not a couple, a few of my friends listen. So that's what I'm saying. They're gonna know now, but it's okay because I am ready and I can do it right now. So I'm gonna do it, Miss Marlene. I'm gonna take the year off. I haven't done that since the pandemic, and I think I'm having all of this as a result of that.
Right. You need to take care of yourself. So I have two more benefits of physical health benefits, and then we're going to end tonight. So here's a physical benefit, Miss Nexie, and that is it lowers your blood pressure and improves your heart health. and it increases physical activity because when you're in nature, you're walking, and it leads to better health benefits. But also, here is a very important one: spending time in natural light, it helps regulate your body's sleep wake cycle,
Oh
and
my God.
it leads to your improved sleep pattern. That part I didn't know.
Me neither. Oh my God.
Yeah.
An entire week. We were there 7 days. And in 7 days, Miss Marlene, I have reset it, the clock, because we came back Monday and I've been sleeping. I'm telling you, I've been sleeping regularly the whole time, including today. I woke up and I had 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. And
Well,
and I,
that
I I I have never done that because, again, because I'm at work, and either I'm working at, we work 24-hour shifts, and I'm off 48, but I'm not really off because I'm here at home with, the little guy. And so I sleep when I can, but I'm so wired up from non-sleep that I can't really rest. And you
yeah,
feel and oh my God, I didn't know that one.
yeah, that part, that was a new thing to me. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. But I'm telling
Here's
you, it's true.
bon- here's a bonus, Miss Nexie. Being out in nature, it provides vitamin D. Sunlight exposure in nature helps your body to produce vitamin D, which is crucial in your bone health and your immune function.
See, it is true. You know, the one thing that I noticed, Miss Marlene, that I was go, 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 go all day. I didn't sit down much until literally when we were ready to go to bed, or we ate, right? We had dinner, we whatever, whatever. And then I will get up and clean the dishes, put everything away. If any leftovers, put them in the fridge, and then, make sure we're getting ready for bed. Take a shower before bed if we wanted to. And if not, make sure the little guy was fed before and brush his teeth. I was so go, 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 go. And my body wasn't tired, my body wasn't aching. My body wasn't sore. I was okay. And I was go, go, go all day because you have to do everything manually, right?
Mhm.
I didn't have, I meant I could have, I guess, but probably had restaurants around. But just put it this way, the nearest supermarket, like grocery store, was like 12 miles from us.
Wow.
Exactly. So I didn't I couldn't count on that. So I had to prepare everything. We wanted, like, you know, we were there like all day doing nothing. So we were able to eat 3 times a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we did everything by doing it ourselves. We didn't, leftovers, or we can order or whatever. No, we did everything ourselves. And I was go, 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 go. And by the time I got to bed, I was so relaxed because I wasn't exhausted. That's another thing I wanted to tell you, Miss Marlene. Even though I was go, go, go all day, and then we'll take long hikes, long walks, it, it was beautiful. Again, you can walk on the street because there's no cars. I wasn't exhausted when I went to bed. I was relaxed, and I will fall asleep so easily without a problem and have a restful sleep. And I notice here when I'm at home that sometimes I'm not go, go, go doing everything, by hand. I can order food if I want to, eat leftovers from yesterday's order, right? Whatever. I'm so exhausted at the end of the day, and I'm so achy, and I'm so, ugh, that sometimes it's not easy for me to fall asleep.
Yeah. It's not good for us. And that's they say that, being in nature has been proven to help with, our mental health. It also has been known to help with resetting our sleep patterns, and helps with anxiety and so many other things. It depends on what we're doing and all of those things. But the reason why me and Miss Nessie want to have this conversation is for us to really pause and take stock of our life. How are we treating ourselves? And I think everybody could use a reset in how we're treating ourselves. Like, am I getting vacation? Am I getting sleep? How are my stress levels? And if there's something that I need to do, I have to give myself the permission to change it. And that was something that was definitely new for me. Taking back control of my life and not letting a job or family responsibilities or whatever control me. Me saying it's time for me to take time for me.
Yeah, and it was for me, Miss Marlene. We have discussed that here, you and I, how hard it was for us to say no to people. How hard it was for us to say, I am not going. I don't care what you say, what anybody says, who gets upset, who doesn't, who gets mad, who doesn't. I'm not going. And how hard it was because we were anxious to what was going to happen because we said no, right?
Yeah,
This
and that's
vacation has done for me, and again, I thank my therapist for pushing me, because again, I would have not done it, and my ex-husband too, for actually listening this time, not just hearing me, listening to me. And he even said that he saw me that I was over there in Mexico on vacation, but I wasn't there. And he's like, this trip is just for you. And I'm very grateful, because I am clear minded, Miss Marlene. Those guilty feelings of, oh my God, I don't want to leave. Um, because what if more patients, and what's gonna happen? Those feelings right now are put aside because I have to take care of me. I need to heal me.
mm,
And after that pandemic, I haven't done that. And there was a lot of loss and a lot of pain that we went through. And I haven't done anything for that pain. And I'm doing it now, thanks
yeah.
to this week getaway to a beautiful, beautiful, enchanting place.
Yep. So, maybe you may not be able to do what Miss Nexie can do and get away for a whole week, but we all have access to going outside, taking a deep breath, maybe going for a short walk in our neighborhood or to a local park or beach. If you live somewhere by a lake or a mountain view, but just being outside and taking, even if it's just a few minutes, just to just sit in quiet and undisturbed, not with your phone, just enjoying some quiet time. That is what this conversation is focused on. Taking some quiet time for you. We're all busy adults. We all have responsibilities, whether you're working or you're retired. We all have things going on in our lives, and we need to take the time for our own personal healing and for our self-love, because self-love is self-care.
Exactly, Miss Marlene. Exactly. Could not said it better myself. I thank you for giving me the opportunity today to, give you a little bit of the change that did for me, allowing me to voice it out and put it out in the universe for anybody that can benefit from it, and clear their mind and make sound mind decisions. I give you thanks for that, Miss Marlene. I'm really, really grateful for you giving me a spot in your podcast, and for being my friend, and for
Oh,
listening, and for always supporting. I really appreciate you.
oh, I really appreciate you too. Thank you guys so much for coming. And Miss Nexie, I didn't even tell Miss Nexie, but I'm going to tell her right now. We're going to go to member only and do a quick topic.
Okay,
Okay.
let's do it.
Members there. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. And just put a little comment, hello, little hearts, whatever you want for Miss Marlene on the replay. Bye, everyone.
Bye. See you guys next week. And see you members in about 2 minutes. Bye bye.
Bye.